Your Honor.
What time?
Yes.
That's at 9 o'clock. Mr. Kirkman also is here for Stokely, who we have here. Do you want to wait and keep to going the way you're going, or do you want me to go ahead and
I can do that. Let me find that on my list here. Is that Julius Stokely?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Yeah, we can take that up. Would parties announce appearances?
Jared Begier on behalf of the state.
And Mr. Stokely, do you have an attorney? Is that Mr. Stokely there with you, Mr. Kirkman?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Stokely, do you have an attorney?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Baca, announcement to the court.
Jared Begier on behalf of the state.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jared Begier. I apologize, Jared. Do you have an announcement to the court?
Yes, Your Honor. This is a case that comes before the court on a motion for judgment on bond that was filed by my office on January 7th of this year, set for today's date and time by my colleague, Mr. Sweeney. The state's information is that there was a prior attempt at a failure to appear back in December of 2025 before Chief Judge Rickey, with my colleague, Ms. Norris, being present, at which time the defendant failed to appear. Chief Judge Rickey did enter orders following finding that the defendant failed to appear, and the state would request that the issue of the motion for judgment on bond be reserved for later on in the hearing, depending on what occurs during today's hearing.
Okay. Mr. Stokely, how would you like to proceed this morning?
I would like a continuance so I can have the opportunity to try to find a lawyer.
Okay. And I think there's a no bond hold on you right now. Why did you fail to appear on December 3rd?
Well, I made every effort to appear. I called the court, and when I talked to the people at the court, they told me that I didn't have a court date because I had went to a funeral back in Chicago. My nephew had passed away right after this court date. I mean, right before this court date, he passed away, so I had to go back to Chicago for the funeral. And I made an effort to call, and they told me that I didn't have a court date in the system. I showed Mr. Kirkman this as well.
Okay. Mr. Regier, what is your request regarding reinstating bond for Mr. Stokely? And then what is your position on his request for a continuance?
Your Honor, the state does not have an objection in this matter. If the court is going to, and the state will defer to the court on the issue of whether or not bond should be reinstated in this matter. Far be it from the state to recommend overturning the orders of the chief judge. I believe the court had already made a determination of that. If the court is prepared to make any alternative orders on that front, the state would be recommending, in addition to that, the defendant be ordered to appear in person for all future proceedings, GPS monitoring as an additional condition of bond. Besides the fact that this case is charged as a DUI, at least insofar as count 1 is concerned, the state's information is that the defendant has failed to appear for court a number of times prior to the failure to appear back in December, at least 5 times. And the state understands that this is a defendant who has at least 1 prior non-alcohol related felony. Okay. So your position is basically that the chief judge has made his ruling and that Mr. Stokely should be taken into custody today? That would be the state's position, Your Honor. And the state's information is also that Judge Lee may have an expedited docket coming up on a given Friday for addressing these types of situations. Okay. Jennifer, when would Judge Lee's next date be on that expedited docket?
That will be April 17th.
Okay. So that's this coming Friday?
Yes, at 1:30.
Okay. Is that a control docket?
It is the misdemeanor expedited docket. Generally, district judges use it, but I believe we could use it in this circumstance.
Okay. Well, Mr. Regier makes a very good point. Judge Rickey has already issued a bond forfeiture bench warrant with a no bond hold. I do appreciate the fact that Mr. Stokely has presented himself here today, but I'm not going to overturn
Here the case takes an important turn. The state's attorney informs the court that this is not just a single missed appearance. The defendant has failed to appear at least 5 times before. This makes the matter far more serious. Now the real question before the court is whether the defendant should be granted bond again or taken into custody. The most important point is that the next hearing is set on an expedited docket, meaning the case could move quickly toward a strict and fast decision.
The chief judge's prior ruling. So I do think Mr. Stokely should be taken into custody, and we should set him on that April 17th docket. That is Friday. So that's a pretty quick turnaround on court dates. And then Mr. Stokely, are you wanting to apply for a court-appointed attorney?
Yeah. May I say one thing?
Sure.
So I'm about to graduate from college in a couple weeks, and I understand your position on this, but it's very kind of inconvenient for me to be sitting in custody when I'm going to graduate from college.
Yeah. Where are you going to college?
Colorado Technical University.
Okay.
It's online.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Mr. Stokely, I do appreciate what you're saying. I appreciate your predicament. But I'm just not going to overturn the chief judge's prior ruling. And we did get you a pretty quick turnaround on court dates. Are you wanting to apply for an attorney?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Court security, do you have the applications there for court-appointed counsel?
We do, Your Honor.
Okay. Could we let him fill that out and turn that in before you take him into custody?
We can probably send it with him.
Okay, that will work. Okay, so all right, so your next court date will be this coming Friday, April 17th at 9 a.m. with Judge Lee on the expedited docket. Okay.
And Your Honor, in light of the court's ruling from today, the state would move to withdraw the motion for judgment on bond.
Okay. And Mr. Kirkman, I assume you have no objection to that.
No, Your Honor.
Okay, so ordered. Okay. Anything further on this matter?
Not from the state, Your Honor.
Okay. All right.
Thank you, Your Honor.
At the end, the court delivers its final decision, upholding the chief judge's earlier order and remanding the defendant into custody. The next appearance is set for this Friday, where the next major step in the case will unfold. Interestingly, the defendant mentioned that he is about to graduate from college soon, but the court made it clear that the law stands above personal circumstances. Backhand index pointing right. If you enjoyed this video and showed your support, we will definitely bring you the next hearing of this case as well. So don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and make sure to turn on the bell icon and set notifications to all, so you never miss the next update of this case first. What do you think? Did the court make the right decision, or should the defendant have been given another chance?